Hello, I'm Melinda Kiefer and I am proud to be your host for Live Green Tennessee. We are excited to bring you Season 2 of Live Green Tennessee with new stories of Tennesseans who are choosing to live green. We recently visited CC Gardens, where a small hobby of growing heirloom tomatoes turned into a business that now provides microgreens for 13 Nashville area restaurants. Owner Charlie Crawford showed us that planting, growing, and selling these greens is no small feat.
It all really started as a hobby. I've always liked to grow heirloom tomatoes. I started taking the extra heirlooms I had to Eastland Cafe, to Hal, and one winter he came to me and said, you know, your tomatoes are better than any tomato that I've received from any other gardener. And that inspired me to start growing more tomatoes. But I'd always had a desire to supply restaurants with fresh herbs. It was something I thought that I could do because I like to grow things. And it was through the process of getting material to start a garden one year that I came across an article that was all about growing microgreens. I'd never heard of microgreens. By the time I finished the article, I realized, oh my gosh, there's what I was wanting to do. Those are herbs that I can grow in my space and send to just about any chef in Nashville. And they may not want it, but they're going to be impressed with it. I went to Home Depot and picked up a pack of seeds and brought them home and propagated them on another substrate that I had and took them to Hal at Eastland Cafe. And I said, what do you think of this? And he said, well, I'll buy that all year long. Well, that got the wheels a turning in my head. And I was like, well, if Hal will buy it, who else will buy it? Well, it was only natural that I would go to their sister restaurant, Park Cafe, and they would be my second clientele. And from there, the business grew because I have 13 other restaurants now that are all very proud of this that they have. And they all want to, educate others about it. I have Crimson Tide mustard, mizuna, sorrel, radish, cilantro, bull's blood beet, 2 types of basil, fennel, and the list grows. The first step to growing microgreens is to cut the Rockwool. Here we have the 8x8 squares that the product is grown on. What it is, it's Rockwool. It's all manufactured the same way. It's chalk and rock. It's heated to 3,900 degrees and it's spun, much like cotton candy. It's a really lightweight product. It's sterile. And I found it most appealing because it wasn't dirt, and I felt like it was safe to take into a clean environment such as the kitchen. It's not able to be considered a organic substance, but I do grow it in a very organic manner. The only thing that you need to do in preparation to grow is to soak it in a very high pH balanced solution of water. And what that does, it enables the Rockwool to take up nutrients. Without soaking it, it is a very low pH. So by soaking it, it brings it to a neutral pH so that it will take up nutrients easily. The next step is to propagate the seed onto the Rockwool surface, and I generally like to do it in a real simple way, just with a bowl and tapping of my fingers has been the best process I've found. Seeds usually like to have a little bit of moisture on top as well as on the bottom, which is what the Rockwool is doing. Adding additional moisture on the top of it simulates Mother Nature's raining onto the spring damp soil. So I like to use a little handheld sprayer and just give it all nice, a little even coat. Okay, so now we've cut the Rockwool. The Rockwool's been soaked. We've propagated the seed in the Rockwool. Now it's time to put it on the heat mat. It's called a Propagation Mat and it's controlled by a thermostat. Thermostat set between 75 and 82 degrees that simulates Mother Nature. So after a period of approximately 24 to 48 hours, it's then time to move the seed under the light. As you can see, the seed has just started to show a little bit of green. That means that it needs light. I put it under the fluorescent light. It's a T5 fluorescent. It's made for growing. Doesn't use much electricity. After a couple of days, this is what it'll start to look like, with the end result being this. This is basil genovese and opal basil combined. It takes about 18 days to get this basil to this point. So as you can see, it all grows pretty fast. Today's order is going to go out to Watermark, and Eastland Cafe and Mitchell's Deli. Some of my other clients include 360 Bistro, Flight, Hillwood Country Club, Mad Platter, Park Cafe, Sambuca, just to name a few. Tray them up, put names on them, send them out to the chefs. All right, Hal, here it is, tiny green things, just like you wanted. Look at that.
Delicious. So you're bringing me some more on Friday?
Yes, I am. I have extra. Ready.
Yeah, man, this will get me through the week, and then I'll probably need 6 more.
Great.
We've been getting microgreens from CC Gardens here at Eastland Cafe now for probably going on 3 to 4 years. We buy about 12 to 15 flats a week. We use them, obviously the basil we use to garnish our margarita pizza with. And then a lot of the other different kinds of microgreens, the Mizuna, the Crimson Tide, red mustard, the arugula, the amaranth, we use on the hotline during service to garnish the pork belly dish, some of the fish dishes. We use a blend of the microgreens for some of the dishes. For some of the dishes, I'll just use one of the microgreens. The amount of flavor that's in something so small, they're still very powerful in the way that they taste. So not only are they beautiful and still alive, and they're a great garnish to finish a dish, but they're also a great showpiece in the kitchen for the chefs and the guests to start a conversation with one another and learn more about what we're actually doing here at Eastland Cafe and what our goals are as a kitchen.
My profession before getting into growing microgreens was to take old houses in East Nashville and rehab them and turn them into something beautiful again. It's take more or less the same thing I'm doing here. I'm taking something that's nothing and making it into something that's beautiful. I'm now into what I like to refer to as my Recession Reconstruction project. In fact, CC Gardens Microgreens kept me from losing my house. If it were not for this hobby and my love of growing things, you know, I don't know what I've done without it. And this, I hope, is going to be the turnaround.